column elements are probably the most popular element that we use when it comes to organizing your content. So you can see here, this is a full width column, and then we've got half widths that are placed within a color section. And by the way, these column elements can be styled in ways to create borders, background images, different colors, paddings, and rounded border radiuses, things like that. So we'll go over all those options, but these are, you could see, are three different columns, three columns with different background colors. The padding that we're talking about is the space from the edge of the column to where the content resides. We've got one third, 2/3, all sorts of different ratios possible, 4 columns, 1/4, 3/4, and fifths. So all these different combinations. Let's get into the back end and show you how this works. So we've got, let's look at our thirds here, and this is, you could see these are the columns right here, these boxes, and this particular set resides inside of this other box, which is a color section. Actually right here, this is the color section, but these are the columns. And if we see there's a little black dot, that is the background color. So that is what we noticed right here, so this background color. So we can go ahead and change that. You can see here's our color, and if we want to make that, let's say, that orange color, we can do that. And we can expand and contract these columns. We can move them around, so we can drop and paste them. And if we get into each one, I'll go through each of the options we have. So in each row, so this is a row of columns here. In each row, if you click on the first one, there's a couple of different options available to you. So this is, do we want each of the columns in this row to have an individual height, basically dictated by the content that is inside of that box, or do you want them equal height? And if you say that you want equal height, you need to tell it where do we want the content aligned, at the top of the box, the middle, or the bottom. And this here is whether or not there's some space between the columns. So if we move along in the Layout tab, this is where we establish the padding. You can have the same value for all, or you can adjust. And right now it's 30 pixels around, so this is 30 pixels right here, right here, right there, and right there. And you can see how that looks. Okay, a border is just how it sounds. It'll be a border around the edge of the column or the container. You could set the width of that border. You can set the color. Let's make it green so we know what it is. And border radius. So the border radius are the corners. So if we want sharp corners, we keep this at 0 pixels. If we want rounded edges, we might say 10 pixels. And let's see how that looks. We'll edit that and save it. And we will refresh this page. And you see we've got the orange background with the green border, and you can see how these edges are now rounded, and the border thickness is 4 pixels. So really helpful stuff. And so let's get back in. We'll continue editing. So we've got our borders. We've got the background color. So we change that to orange. Alternatively, we can clear that and we can set up a background image. So we could put this background image. There we go. And we can set up where it is. You'll probably need to experiment with this, especially if they're images of different sizes and shapes, and your column is different sizes and things. So you can do that. You can put an image, and probably won't want to have that. So why don't we get rid of that? And animation. So as you're scrolling, as you're getting to that point on the page, do you want it to animate in, or do you want it to just appear? So you can see you can set up a fade in so that when somebody gets to that portion of the page, it'll fade in nicely. It's helpful if you have a lot of content on the same page. It helps refresh rates, those sorts of things. And screen options, if you have a mobile device or you should want something to disappear when you get to a mobile environment, maybe it's not well served in a mobile environment, you can go ahead and do that. And mobile display, you can hide it on mobile devices. So these are column elements. Very, very important, really, really important things to help you set up these containers for all of your content on your website. And you're going to use column elements a lot. So as you get going, you'll get better at it. But these are column elements.